Welcome back to episode 11 of i75Live. We are going to get straight into it. It was another great week of football, college, and NFL combined.
College has been going crazy recently.
It was a pretty historic week for college, where 5 of the 11 teams that were in the top 10 lost to unranked teams, which has never happened before. So that was crazy. But Alabama, first game, Alabama loses to Vanderbilt.
I think this was Vanderbilt's first time beating a top 5 opponent.
They were 0-60. 0-60.
My. That's the video of that Vanderbilt player, what was that? 10 years ago or something.
Yeah,
where he says, "You come to our to our house, we'll show you how SEC ball's played."
Yeah.
He wasn't, wrong. He wasn't wrong. He was just early. He was way early.
It took him 10 years.
It took him 10 years.
But Vandy, they dominated time of possession. They had about 42 minutes compared to Alabama's 18.
It's crazy.
Bama just looked like they took a week off. And as we know, you cannot take a week off in SEC, and they paid for it.
Yeah, every once in a while you'll see teams of this caliber play down to their opponents, and it never really makes sense to me. I know that it definitely happens. You can overlook people, and the other person definitely isn't doing the same. But you're going into playing Alabama a week like that. You want to be on your A game, and Vanderbilt, I don't think, made a single mistake. He really didn't. Their quarterback played awesome.
Well, and Vanderbilt, too, you could say it you're the number 1 team in the country. You're going to get everyone's best.
Vanderbilt had nothing to lose. I mean, they have nothing to lose.
Nothing to lose. So, and Alabama they took a week off.
Yep.
Vanderbilt came in and said, no, we're going to shock the world. We're going to try to do something that's never been done. And then the first quarter ends, and it's, we can play with them.
Yep.
Second quarter ends, we can play with them. Third quarter ends, we can play with them. So, now I will say, too, the guy, I think it was number 13 on Alabama at the end of the game.
He threw an absolute tantrum.
And I was talking, I can't remember who I was talking to about it. I would rather have something like this happen than something like the whole Georgia thing going on, where they're on player number 5 of getting arrested for something.
7 players have been dropped, I'm pretty sure, this season. It's crazy.
So if I was going to have a problem, I would rather have something like this happen, not to give him any excuses to where it was completely childish.
That's his passion boiling over and not necessarily understanding how to control your emotions in the moment. Because you can see the wide angle of that view when all that was happening. The coaches are kind of signaling over to him, like, get over here. And he's just sitting there going off, just shaking his fists, screaming. And then he kicks the ball.
If I was him, I mean, you're number 1 team in the country. You just beat Georgia, and then you go to Vandy, and that happens to you. But SEC, number 4, Tennessee, loses to unranked Arkansas. Redshirt freshman quarterback for Arkansas. He actually played right down the road.
Game.
Their starting quarterback, he played at North Cobb, so that was kind of cool to see.
That's right.
But yeah, I mean, it goes to show, I think Tennessee took a week off against a team that I don't think was terrible. I mean, Arkansas, SEC.
Tennessee has a history of losing games at Arkansas, too, so this isn't out of the norm. But Arkansas had to have played a perfect game, and they did.
And they did.
No turnovers at all. It was a balanced game other than that. Other people had some mistakes, but really, it came down to, I think, the last drive or two, really. Tennessee had a chance to win it at the end. Just couldn't get it done.
That last drive, too, it really showed Tennessee's freshman quarterback on that last 4th down play to where
you could say the same. I mean, Arkansas's quarterback was put in somewhat similar situations, and he was able to thrive.
Yeah.
But is Tennessee's QB also a redshirt?
I don't know if he's a redshirt, but I know he's a freshman. Okay. He's either a true freshman or a redshirt. He's played very good, though, this whole year. He showed that he was a freshman on that last play.
Arkansas normally has some pretty good defenses as well, so it's not, you're not walking into what first read passes and stuff like that. You actually got to read the field and make the right decision.
Yep.
And only putting up 14 points against an SEC team is more times than not going to be enough.
Yep.
So, yeah, but I think another surprising one was Missouri.
Now this one, they did lose to a ranked team. They're 25th in the country, so they're pretty close to getting out of that 25. But they killed them. 41-10 against the Missouri team, who I think is pretty good.
Their running back. Did you see the game he had?
Yeah.
He had 12 carries, 138 yards, and 3 touchdowns.
And they had 500 total yards of offense, a little bit over that. So Texas A&M did exactly what they needed to do to give themselves a case towards beating a top 10 team. But Missouri, I really like Brady Cook on Missouri. I think he's got a lot of weapons.
He didn't
to throw
have a
the ball
great
to.
game this time, but he'll be good. He just needs to
where
get these out
he
of the
is
system.
in his career, you can't be doing this.
He was like 13 of 31, I think. It's not good at all.
No, not at all. I mean, you have to. You can't lose 41-10 against another SEC team. You are who you are. You've been there for as long as you are. You almost lost to Vanderbilt, a week ago or 2 weeks
That's
ago.
true.
So I don't know.
Vanderbilt's just giving everyone their best game.
And they're at the end of the day, though, like we've always said, with these SEC teams, anyone can beat anyone.
Yep.
And unfortunately, you take a week off, like I mentioned a couple minutes ago, you're going to pay for it. And
they needed this one.
They're
too.
very lucky that the Alabamas of the world, the Tennessees of the world, that it is a 12.
They are also losing.
Well, that and that they're that it's a 12-team playoff now. Because some of these losses, it would really be like, well, we got to win out or else we're done. We're not making the SEC championship. We're not doing this. We're not. So that is a plus that some of these teams. Now, I like it, though, that you don't have to be perfect.
Yeah.
Because with football, as we know, stuff like this will happen.
I was getting really tired of college football, the landscape before all of this, where it was really just the same 2 or 3 teams and then an extra throw-in team every year that gets blown out in the playoffs.
Yeah.
But realistically, it is those few teams that always are there. But I think this college football playoff landscape is going to be a lot better. It's going to be a lot more entertaining.
Well, and it makes you excited, too. If a week like this could happen, how do you know this won't happen the first week of the playoffs?
That would go so crazy.
And all the visiting teams come in, and so you never know. And like again, with football, it is a long season. Injuries happen. All these things happen. But who's to say that this doesn't happen the first week of the college playoffs?
Yeah.
Next game, though.
You've been saying this for a couple of weeks now in Michigan. Once again,
they
under
proved
100
my
passing
point.
Yards.
Under 100 passing yards, and they lose to Washington.
Unranked Washington, and it was at Washington, but it was not a close game. The score doesn't exactly show the full picture. That was not a close game at all. And it really wasn't.
If you can't even now, no discredit to Washington, but they lost their head coach.
They lost a lot.
They lost
of
their
talent.
2 best receivers.
Their
lost their
offensive
quarterback.
coordinator's gone too. He's the head coach of the Seahawks.
No disrespect to them, but I'm sorry if Michigan, if you can't even beat Washington, and you can't pass the ball for over 100 yards.
I don't think they're going anywhere this year.
How do you expect? Now, I know Ohio State plays Oregon this week. That's going to be a really good game.
It's Ohio State's first test. I'm pretty sure it might be their first ranked opponent this year.
Yeah.
Unless I'm getting that wrong, they may have one game against a ranked opponent. But
well, if they beat Oregon,
if
they beat Oregon, they're probably going to go undefeated. But to go to my point, I don't know how you're Michigan or a Michigan fan and go, yeah, this is.
I feel good about this.
I feel good about this. I feel good about playing Oregon or playing Ohio State or playing freaking Texas A&M at this point or Vanderbilt at this point and saying, yeah, I like our chances. We're just going to run the ball and that's who we are and we're going to stick by it. Yeah, good luck with that. That's all I got to say.
Good luck against the other Big Ten teams.
That too. Next one, USC loses to Minnesota. This is another one.
Minnesota got their get back for last week, so they should have beat Michigan, and they just nothing that they did wrong, just a bad call on the onside kick. So they made up for it this week. I think USC got their best game. They were playing pissed off the whole time.
Well, and USC also made a ton of mistakes, so that didn't help.
3 turnovers, 8 penalties. It's not going to win you a game.
But like we say with some of these teams, you take a week off. I don't care who you are. Big Ten football is Big Ten football against a team that. Everyone was going to say they've played pretty good this year, though. USC has. For transitioning where everyone's like, they don't play defense. This is going to be terrible. They're going to lose it, by a lot of points every week. Yeah. So I think they have played above their standards this year and with a quarterback that I don't think really anyone ever heard of. And he came in, started playing good. So, but Minnesota, they proved again that this is football. Take a week off. We're going to beat you. And, I think Minnesota can have a good chance of beating some of the, I think they beat Michigan. 100%.
Well, they should have. They should have beat Michigan. And if they beat Michigan last week with all that happening, and then they beat USC, What was Michigan when they played? Michigan was lower when they almost lost to Minnesota.
They were a little bit
and then
higher, yeah.
you beat number 11 the week after. Minnesota is up there.
Yeah.
I think you put them in at least the top 12, which if they can win out, like you said, they'll be in their championship game if they win out. And so that, gives them a playoff spot. It'd be really interesting to see Minnesota make the playoffs.
And that would
be cool.
Again, like we said, this is what's cool
a team that would have no
now.
chance whatsoever if it was a few years back, even last year.
Yeah.
It would not happen.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for the future of college football.
I am too.
It needed this. It really needed
seeing
this.
some of these teams beat some, it'd be awesome as a fan, and with no one in the game of it. I think it'd be great to see the first weekend of the playoffs look like this.
Now we just need contracts so that players can stop transferring after every single year.
Or opting out because they're not playing and having no penalty for leaving a school.
Crazy.
But let's go right into NFL. First game.
We got to witness probably the best game all year.
We could not have cherry-picked a better game to go to.
It was awesome.
It was awesome. 500 yards from Kirk Cousins.
Baker Mayfield played a great game too. He didn't have, a huge amount of passing yards, but he was 19 for 24, 180 yards, 3 touchdowns, efficient. Mike Evans had an amazing game. Everyone played well. Kyle Pitts. Yeah. Kyle Pitts is alive.
Everyone played. And then
my fantasy team needed that this week so bad.
Well, and then I think it was pretty funny that Kirk Cousins broke because it was Matt Ryan's Ring of
passing
Honor
yards record
ceremony at halftime. Most people probably didn't hear about that because they weren't at the game. But he literally broke Matt Ryan's record on Matt Ryan's night.
Yep.
So that was pretty cool. That was pretty cool. But Kirk Cousins, I think we are seeing why
he's earning his money. Every week he's earning his money.
And if I was a Falcons fan and I was hating on it and we should have signed Justin Fields, we should have done all this.
Arguably 4 weeks in a row. Take away week 1 where they were. Yes, they played Pittsburgh. They didn't score a touchdown. It was bad. It was a bad game.
It was a bad. Well, first game, you kind of expected that.
But 4 weeks in a row, I know they dropped the Chiefs game. Not Kirk's fault, but 4 weeks in a row, he's showing you why you paid him that money. Philly drove down the field, game-winning touchdown. Chiefs had the same opportunity, just the offensive coordinator ran a stretch on 4th and inches.
Well, there's an argument to be made that they could be sitting here undefeated.
They could.
If they were playing like this, the first game that they beat the Steelers.
If they came out of the gate a lot
down,
faster, they could have beat the Steelers. Probably should have beaten the Steelers.
They beat the Eagles. They lose a close one against Kansas City on a penalty that should have been called that would have put them first and goal to score a touchdown to win the game.
Yep.
And then you beat the Saints. And then you beat the Buccaneers the way they did. So there is an argument that if they were playing like this the whole year, they are undefeated.
They're playing
but like
really
you said,
good football.
They are proving why you signed Kirk Cousins to
Kirk Cousins
all the money he did.
Earning that money. He's got to keep doing it, and more importantly, he has to do it in the playoffs. But it's looking really good.
But knock. I said this to someone in our group chat. The knock on Kirk Cousins is he hasn't been able to win the big games, primetime games, whatever. He's now won what? Well, not technically. He's won 2 big, huge primetime games, and then he had a comeback against the Saints. It was a 1:00 game.
I think he may be first in fourth quarter comebacks since I think 2017 or 2018. It's crazy. Higher than Mahomes, higher than everyone.
Yeah.
Kirk Cousins, because when you think of that stat, you're not instantly going, "Oh, that's Kirk."
Yeah, you would think it's Mahomes or Allen or Lamar or
Burrow.
Like that.
Yeah, and it's in that game, the atmosphere there.
Oh, it was awesome.
Air got sucked out of the stadium when Kirk threw the interception at the end of the game. Yes, Falcons. Gotta love Atlanta fans. Atlanta fans showed up in the second quarter and they left before the game ended.
Yeah,
you gotta love it.
They
got like an hour of game time,
and then they hold them to that punt. They get a couple sacks, and then all of a sudden you see everyone start coming.
The interception was thrown, and I was like, they still have 3 timeouts. We got a Tampa fan behind us who's taunting all the Falcons fans leaving
as they're leaving.
Where are you going? The game's not over yet.
Yeah.
Oh man, that guy has to feel sick after saying stuff like that, because when all of that happened, when they went to overtime, we didn't hear a single peep out of him.
And then
I didn't turn around to
walk
see
down
him,
with his wife, and just sad.
after that touchdown, he was gone.
Yeah,
we turned around, he had disappeared.
He was out of there. Next game though, first London game of the year, Jets Vikings.
Garrett Wilson, I've been waiting for this all season long.
Garrett Wilson was the only bright spot of the Jets.
Yep.
Other than that, I think Jets...
He had 22 targets. I think most in a game since
This is what we kind of expected, the way that Aaron Rodgers was able to feed Devontae Adams.
He's been feeding him all year. It just hasn't
shown
results yet. They've had a really tough
matchups.
first few weeks against #1 corners.
Yeah.
And Garrett Wilson gets that every single rep.
Yeah.
So it looks like it's finally starting to ease up for him, and I think you can expect a lot more performances like that. We'll get into talking later why I think the Jets are in a much better position now, but let's see. Aaron Rodgers played horrible.
Yeah.
For his standard, he played awful.
I mean, 3 interceptions, and they were bad too. It's not like it was a tipped pass or hit him on the numbers,
He
hit
had
his hands.
I think 2 interceptions in the first quarter.
And they were both like overthrows of you never do that type of stuff.
Nope.
But they as a whole though, the Jets, the defense looked. Now I will say the defense played better in the second half.
Gardner had a rough game, really.
Well,
Jefferson you're gonna
had
get
like
every
8
single
penalties
call,
on
yeah.
him. When it
Jefferson
comes to
just-
illegal contact or pass interference or whatever. So, I mean, I guess that's one way to stop them and just take your penalties. But yeah, no, the Jets, I think they're a dumpster fire right now with everything that we'll talk about a little bit later with Saleh getting fired.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if there's any, I don't know. And they were a team that we were both pretty high on on paper.
I still think they can be, but they got to figure this out.
Yeah. And the time is
starting to see
ticking.
that all those off-season issues may not have been, so overblown like we thought so at first. Yep. It's kind of, I don't know. I think they'll be okay in the long run, but I don't think they're going to be #1 seed like I predicted.
Yeah. I don't.
Not even close.
I don't think that's going to happen anymore.
Probably not.
You never know. And the AFC East with the Bills losing 2, the Dolphins on a bye week.
Bills are slowly starting to skid. We'll talk about that later. The end of that game was horrible for them.
It was pretty bad. But let's get into your game, Panthers Bears. I really don't care. It's the Panthers. I think
you have to look like this against teams like that.
Yes.
If you're going to be good, this is how you want to look against a team like that. A bottom of the league team. Caleb played great. I don't have the exact stats, but he was near perfect against the blitz. Over the past 2 weeks, he's been near perfect against the blitz. No turnovers and a couple of touchdowns.
And he is slowly getting better.
He's stacking these games on top of each other. He had a great game against the Rams. Not great stats-wise, but he was very efficient. This game was his breakout, I would say. He was making passes all over the field.
The touchdown pass to the second touchdown pass
one
to
right
DJ
before
Moore.
halftime.
I mean, you couldn't have
He
placed
looked
it
off
any
the
better.
safety on that play. You can watch from the all-22 angle, or even from behind Caleb. I think, what is that? I don't know what they call that camera angle, but you can see the entire field from behind the offense.
Like the Madden
He
camera.
looks off the safety to the right and then immediately turns and guns it to DJ Moore on a one-on-one touchdown.
I watched that live because and it was a great throw.
He needs
to
do this every week because this second half of the season is a gauntlet. We don't play a single division game until week 11. We play, the Vikings, Packers, and Lions all twice after week 11. And then the other teams we play, the Niners, we play the Seahawks, and I think one other team.
Yeah, so you've got to win these games.
These next games, this London game is going to be huge against the Jaguars, and then after that we have a bye week, and then we go to the Commanders, which is going to be a shootout. I don't know, shootout. Our defense is very good, but
that was a game that going into the season was like, hey, you got to win that. But now with how Jayden Daniels is playing, you never know.
Now we need to win, or else we're never going to hear the end of it. Yeah. But after the Commanders, we have the Cardinals and the Patriots. So these are games need to win at least 3 of these games because if you're going into that gauntlet, anything less than, I don't even know what their record would be, like 7-3.
Yeah,
or 6-3.
I agree.
It's going to be rough.
I agree. About to go on the Commanders. Browns at Commanders. I think the elephant in the room. I think Stefanski wants it done, but I don't think they're letting it. Watson needs to get benched. He's bad.
He's broken.
He's bad.
So because it's not a skill issue. It's not. We know what he's capable of when he's playing, but I think it's a mental thing, and we know that confidence is a huge part of how well you play.
Especially at the QB position.
He has to have negative confidence at this point. He has heard it for years now by all media. I'm sure he hears it on the field 24/7. I mean, he really shot himself in the foot and both kneecaps. It's not good. And I think his career, I said it a few weeks ago, I think this is his last year as a starter in the NFL. He's done.
He
may not even last a few more weeks, honestly.
He shouldn't. And if I was a guy in that locker room, I'd be like, what are we doing? Don't they have Jameis Winston behind him too? Or is that am I wrong on
they
that?
do. Yeah,
like
they do.
I would rather get something going. Like try to get some type of spark to where we've seen Jameis do that before.
Yep.
If I was someone in that locker room, I'd be looking at the coaches going, "What are we doing?"
He's got 2 games this year with a single-digit QB rating.
It's terrible.
That's terrible, and
For the amount of money you are paying him, that is
$230 million fully guaranteed. That's terrible for anyone. Like that's terrible for someone on a rookie contract.
Yeah.
7th round rookie contract. But what's it? Just this stat is crazy. So the single digit QB rating, he's got 20. He's averaging 20 points lower than the league average, and that QB rating is not something that jumps up just because of one completed pass. You have to you have to try to get a score that low. And he did it twice. And at a record rate. Jesus.
To go on to the Commanders though, Washington,
they have the best offense in the league, it seems like. It's so good.
I mean, at this rate, if they keep it up, I know it's a long season, I think they're going to win their division.
Well,
we talked about this weeks ago.
Yeah.
Before the season even started of how fun Washington was going to be to watch. We didn't know if they were going to win games.
We didn't know they were going to be this fun.
We didn't. I mean, so they are really fun to watch, and they're winning games.
I'll raise you another issue. I think if they keep playing like this, there's an argument that Daniels could be your MVP.
100%.
Not just rookie of the year.
And he'd be the first one since Jim Brown in 1950.
And I think Jim Brown may be the only rookie to ever win MVP.
So, I think he is. There's been one. Which would be crazy, but I don't know how he's not in the conversation. At least, not saying he's going to win. Because everyone's going to be like, "You're an idiot." No, he is 100% in the conversation. And also, when you look around the league, like Mahomes is leading the league in interceptions right now. No one wants to talk about it, and everyone wants to bash all these other guys.
Favorite, by the way,
and that's
leading the league in turnovers.
I get you're 5-0. I get you find ways to win, and
Washington's 4-1.
Washington's 4-1. Daniels is playing
much better,
80% completion rating.
Yeah,
he's not making mistakes. He's not making turnovers. I just don't know. I don't know. Washington, but like we said though, they're very fun to watch. We didn't know if they were going to win games.
Crazy,
but they're winning games in a division that we thought was going to be pretty competitive.
They look like the best team in their division.
Oh, I think they are 100%.
The Cowboys
are terrible. They barely beat
The Giants actually haven't been horrible. I'll give the Giants their credit. Well, they look competitive.
Jones has a better stats, QBR, whatever you want to look at, than half these guys that Mahomes, Allen, all so. I don't know, but I really like the Commanders with how they're playing now. Their defense is playing, but Jayden Daniels is giving life to that defense, like we've said. When you look on the other, kind of like how the Bears are right now.
Who was it? Jonathan Allen said exactly what you're saying. He's a defensive tackle for the Commanders, was saying that, he's so used to going out onto the field after the offense just turned it over or the drive stalled and they punted it. But now he gets to chill on the sideline and drink some Gatorade and then look up and the offense scores.
Exactly.
And he just walks out onto the field.
So and I think some people don't realize how impactful that can be.
Oh my God.
But you are one person is energizing that whole team right now.
Oh yeah.
And it just so happens to be a rookie quarterback.
They believe in him.
They believe in him. They know, hey, if we get him the ball, he's going to go score. He's going to be perfect. He's not going to make stupid mistakes.
Yep.
And that's what he's proved through now again. A lot can change, and it could.
He's going to play some tougher defenses.
Yes.
He has not had to go up against a really stout unit yet. Not even top 10. So when he faces the Bears in 2 weeks or 3 weeks,
and they face the Ravens this week.
Ravens. So the Ravens have a really good defense. This is his first test, and that game is going to be so good.
Yeah.
But the Ravens, yes, absolutely a top 10 unit, and then the Bears might have the best unit in the league.
Yeah.
When you put together everything, they've got the best secondary in the league. They get sacks, not as much as Minnesota, but I think it's them, Minnesota, and honestly, just throw a third team in there. But it's Minnesota and Chicago have just suffocating defenses.
Yeah,
it's just
they can play very good coverage in the back end, and then they can rush the passer, which
Washington's defense has actually been. I mean, like I said, same thing with playing. Defenses, they haven't been playing the best offenses. The Bengals, yes.
Yeah.
But the Bengals were putting up points.
Yeah.
But this game, they handled the Browns completely. The Browns couldn't do a single thing.
They did. Next game, though, Dolphins, Patriots. We suck. That's really all this
Sorry,
is
man.
to it. It's fine. Like I said, this is how this year is supposed to go. The Dolphins, though, like we said last episode, the Dolphins are paying too many people all this types of money.
And are going to be paying more towards some people that they need to sign
They
the
need to
contracts.
trade for a quarterback. Yep. And I think who they need to trade for is Joe Flacco. The Colts have already come out and said that Anthony Richardson is their starter no matter what.
Yeah.
If I was the Dolphins, the same way that Joe Flacco came into the Browns last year and led them to the playoffs, could you imagine what Joe Flacco would do with Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Jonnu Smith, Achane, Mostert, all these guys? If I was the Dolphins, I am trading for Joe Flacco because
makes a lot of sense.
Even if Tua comes back, and I know he is, they're on a bye week, and they're saying that he's going to come back.
Tua can get slapped in the head now, and he'll be out for a couple
I
seconds.
agree, and I am 100% calling the Colts and saying, "What do you want? I don't care how old he is. The dude can still play. You saw him against the Jaguars. He
give him like a
launches the
pick.
ball. That's what I would do if I was the Dolphins, because you were a quarterback away. Your defense is good. I know Phillips kind of got hurt, and they've had some injuries
Phillips
here and there.
Is out for the year again.
Yeah, with a partially torn ACL,
ending.
so that sucks for him. But you still have Jalen Ramsey. You still have your safeties. You still have a good
Chubb's
core.
coming back at some point.
Yes, and then your offense, like we said, all these great guys where you saw what Tua can do with them. Get Joe Flacco in there, and that offense will explode, in my opinion.
Makes a lot of
but
sense.
to go to my Patriots, we suck. Like I said, I think,
Dude, no, y'all got screwed. I don't care. That is a dumb rule. Did you see how y'all lost that game?
the touchdown where his heel is out.
So apparently, if it's, I don't remember if it's facing which way. If you're it's one or the other. Either you're facing both feet or towards the end zone, or I think it's both feet facing away from the end zone towards the rest of the field. Your heels have to hit the ground. And we watched him back into the end zone, 1 foot fully down, and then he taps it.
And then because his heel
I'm not gonna lie,
went down,
I've seen calls of that being a touchdown in that exact situation. So I don't understand that.
I kind of see it because it's like a step to where if it was just a toe like that, I don't know. But I mean, when he takes the step and it lands on the line, to me, regardless of if it was my team or not, I think he's out. It sucks though because it was a great catch. Would have
won
been
y'all
really
the game.
cool.
I thought it
won
won y'all the game, and then
I
was on red zone, so it goes back to it, and it's still 15-10. I was like, what happened, man?
Yeah.
How?
Yeah. Now, I know we have it written down later, but I think Drake Maye, they've come out and said that he's going to start.
Well, I think Brissett lost his starting job this game.
That too.
He put up 9 points.
I was a
10
firm
points.
advocate this whole year of I don't want Drake to play the whole year.
And now he gets the
And
Texans
now-
D-line.
Yep. So
Have fun.
Great.
Justin
throw him out
Fields'
to
first start was against the Browns, and he got sacked like 9 times.
So that's going to be great and
Have
fun
fun.
to watch. Yep.
It's going to be great.
I hope we don't ruin his career before it even started. So we will see.
Fingers
but
crossed.
this game was awesome.
This was probably my game of the week.
The Bengals.
Besides
Bengals,
the Thursday night.
The Bengals choked it away. They had it. Lamar kind of. Now I know we got a comment on one of me saying that we don't think the Ravens and the Bills can come from behind and win. Yes, they came from behind and they were able to pull this game out. But if you watch the game, the Bengals literally handed it to them.
Yeah. It's not like the Ravens were taking 90-yard drives and marching down the field.
No.
The Bengals
They were gifting them
Yes.
every opportunity they had to have that comeback. Yes, they came back. Yes, it was, kind of against to what I said last week. But I don't think you're doing that against a Mahomes.
Well, it's the
against
same
a
thing
team
with
like
the
that.
Bills, too. The Bills had a chance, and they kind of proved you right in that aspect. We'll get to that game next.
But
It was bad.
so the Bengals, Joe Burrow had 5 total touchdowns. Jamar had 2. T. Higgins had 2. That offense is
So
playing how
good.
we thought they were
Why
going
does
to
it
play from the
always
beginning.
take them until like week
Yeah, I
5 to
know.
wake up?
I know.
Like every
Well, and now
year they suck to start the year.
They're just digging a hole for themselves. So, but yeah,
Can't do that in the
Bengals
AFC
played really
North.
good. Ravens, I also think played good for. They
Derrick
took advantage.
Henry.
Yeah, that too.
Derrick
in,
Henry.
in overtime.
I'm pretty sure he
that
scored
long run.
he scored a touchdown in every game.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he's the league touchdown leader. So
Yeah, which is what
you guys
said
followed
was going
that
to
season
happen.
bet. I told you that he is going to have 11 rushing touchdowns by like week 10.
And he is
It's
more
not
than
gonna be-
halfway there, and we're not even halfway through the
Exactly.
season.
We're like a quarter through the season.
So he stays healthy. I think yes. Next one though, like we talked about with the Bills, Texans. Josh Allen played terrible.
Worst game of the year for him.
We have it written down 9 for 30, 130 yards. He set an NFL record for the worst completion percentage for 30 attempts or higher.
Threw the game away. Were you watching that game? Did you see the final drives at all?
I didn't watch it live, but I saw it when it was over.
So the Texans, it was tie game. And the Texans had pinned the Bills deep. Like, the Bills were taking snaps from their own end zone. And the Bills proceeded with, I think it was less than a minute left or close to less than a minute left. And Houston had nothing. They may have had a few timeouts, but the game was going to overtime. Or the Bills somehow get a couple chunk plays and kick a field goal. But the Bills passed 3 times in a row. 3 incomplete passes.
And didn't the Texans have all 3 timeouts as well?
Something like that. They had at least 1 timeout, but they had timeouts. And the Bills threw it 3 times. Stopped the clock. The Texans didn't have to do anything, and the Bills punted to them.
Yeah.
And the Texans got it at midfield. They completed like 1 or 2 passes.
Bills
lose.
Yeah.
That was horrible.
Well, I saw
maybe the worst time management that I've seen all year.
I saw
it was bad.
I saw Matt Ryan talking about it on C or whatever network
what
he's on.
What were they doing?
Like, he looked at him and he was like, Josh Allen obviously wasn't playing very good.
So I completely forgot about this. So Josh Allen, obviously it's still the play call, but Josh Allen is concussed. And that's another thing that we got to talk about is how does Josh Allen, after throwing a pass, we all saw the clip. If this turns into an Instagram clip, we will show the clip. It is him rolling out and throwing the ball and falling, just all of his weight, slamming his head on the turf.
Yeah.
Out cold. He's out on his face cold. Comes out for 1 play and then just somehow marches back onto the field right after. How does that happen? After you saw that and everything you're supposed to be doing as a team and concussion protocol, that he's got to be out at least a few more plays. And he was coming out throwing, terrible passes.
Yeah.
And so I like I said, I doubt we'll hear about it this year or this week coming up. But he has a concussion, and honestly, I'm not too far away from saying, watch out if he gets hit in the head again this week.
Yeah.
And
kind of like what we saw with Tua a couple years ago, to where it happened.
It's going to keep happening.
The next game, it was the really bad one that he suffered.
I don't know.
And then the Texans were able to find a way, as good teams do.
Yeah.
But
without Nico Collins, without their best receiver,
because
he
scored the
IR.
long touchdown and then got pulled from the game, now on IR. So that sucks from a fantasy team, and because he's a great receiver to watch. I love watching Nico.
Yet another injury.
Yeah.
Just pile him up.
Well, and Stephon Diggs stock rising. If you could trade for him, I'd do it, because him and Tank Dell are gonna be the focal point of that offense now.
Yep.
So next game though, let's run through the last little bit of these. Giants Seahawks.
Giants looked so good.
Giants blocking that late field goal to take it back was real. I was watching that live when that happened. Seahawks. They played very good. Started 3-0.
Seahawks are just really hurt. They've got so many defensive injuries, and I think all of the starters on their defensive line are out. And it's been like that for a few weeks now. So it sucks.
But Daniel Jones
looks good.
He's not playing bad.
No. 23 of 34, 257, 2 touchdowns, turnovers.
He didn't have Neighbors either, because he was out.
No Neighbors.
So I think, the Giants, in a division that right now is up in the air, but maybe besides Washington when it comes to the Eagles and the Cowboys, Giants could make a run at it.
And this may be because, yes, like I said earlier, the Seahawks are very hurt, but the Giants were balanced. They were running and passing very efficiently and very effectively.
Yeah.
And so if they can keep that up, I think they have another primetime game this week against a team with not a good defense. So we'll see. It could end up being a very competitive game.
You never know. Next one, Cardinals 49ers. I don't know what's wrong with the 49ers.
They've blown, I think, back-to-back weeks, they've blown 2 double-digit leads in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Which doesn't happen really at all much in the NFL unless you're just a bad team, but with the 49ers especially.
And it's not like they're dealing with a ton of injuries either.
Not on defense.
Yeah, not on defense.
Yes, they got some key guys out on offense, but they've got more than enough. Like, Debo played that game. Ayuk had a great game. Kittle had a good game. Trent Williams was playing. The only guy you're missing really is McCaffrey, and does he really mean that much?
Well, and Mason,
for the passing game, maybe.
Mason has been playing very well too.
Yeah, he didn't have a great game this week, but still, I think he still had like 80 yards.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
But the Cardinals were able to stick around just long enough and then come up
back.
with a yep.
And Harrison didn't do anything. Marvin Harrison didn't do a thing.
Yeah, he didn't. They played pretty good coverage on him. They were forcing the Cardinals to use their other weapons.
Harrison
they ran
really
the ball
only,
very good with Connors. Connors has been sneakily been playing really good this year on the ground.
Kyler Murray calling his touchdown from like the 40-yard line.
I did. Yeah, I did.
There's two guys in front of him when he sticks his hand up.
Yeah.
He just runs right past him. Yeah. That is hilarious.
Next one, though, I know this one got delayed.
Sucked.
This game was, it was bad.
Was so bad.
Cowboys and Steelers, I think both these teams are really bad right now. The Cowboys are lucky that they didn't play.
The Steelers need another receiver, dude.
Oh, but huge.
I don't want to say that it's a QB issue because, from what we heard after the game with the whole Pickens stuff, because Pickens was on a snap count. And so that would mean Fields is really just throwing to Freiermuth and some backup guys. Because I don't even think Roman Wilson didn't have like a single catch.
No.
Cameron Hayward caught a touchdown. That's their, I think, third string tight end.
Yeah.
And so it was just nothing. And so I think we have it written down. They need to be active before the trade deadline.
They need an Adams. They need a Cooper.
Somebody.
But they need a number one guy. They don't need to just go
That's
get
not going to act out like Pickens apparently has been.
Yeah.
I don't really care about what he did at the end of the game, but this is apparently an issue in practice and in the facility in general that led them to, not give him those snaps. And he's a great player when he's on the field.
Yeah.
So it must have been bad for Tomlin to want to hold one of his best offensive players off the field in a game they really needed to win.
Yeah.
They're on a losing streak now, are they not?
Yeah. They're on a 2-game losing streak.
After starting very good.
3-0. So we will see. Saints Chiefs. This kind of was another. I mean, the Chiefs are really banged up. Kelsey had another pretty good game. As we said, he's going to have to with all these guys out now. Saints. I know Carr is oblique injury. He's out for a couple weeks.
And that sucked. The Saints were really good to start the year, and maybe we did. After we're seeing the Panthers and the Cowboys, what kind of teams they actually are, the Saints might have been. Yes, they're dealing with injuries. Their offensive line was really hurt, and that may be playing a huge part. But they're on a 3-game losing streak now after starting undefeated 2-0. It's bad, and the Chiefs look dominant again. The Saints couldn't do anything.
Well, and like we've said all year with Mahomes, he's going to figure out a way to win.
You have to make it difficult for him every single snap, or he will expose you. We see this every single week. Every week.
Another one that he had a really, really good game that I don't think Juju had a very good game.
Mm-hmm.
To where you put anyone on that Chiefs offense.
Doesn't matter.
And this is why I say if the Chiefs really want to go get a Cooper or go get a DeAndre Hopkins or someone like that.
Why they don't?
I have a feeling they are, but I bet
teams are gatekeeping.
There is no team that wants to give one of those guys
except the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, maybe they'll do it because they've given them the couple draft picks to get.
I bet the Bills tried to trade for Diggs or trade Diggs to them.
Yeah, but
that would have been fun.
That would have been awesome. But no, so some of the big storylines for this week though that have happened leading into we touched on it. Jets fire Robert Saleh.
I think this has been a long time coming. I think he probably should have been fired last year because it doesn't look good when we see teams able to at least show signs of life when their starting quarterback goes out. We've seen the Packers do it time and time again. Their starter goes out, they'll still win their games moving forward until that QB comes back. But the Jets just look broken.
Well, let me ask you the question. Through this week last year with Zach Wilson,
they've scored the same amount of points.
Whose fault is that?
I would say.
You really think that's the head coach's fault?
Oh no, because Saleh's a defensive guy. Because another storyline that was coming out before Saleh got fired was that he was prepared to fire their offensive coordinator
or make a change.
The guy that Rodgers wants there and was the guy that he had in Green Bay.
To go off of that, do you think the Jets fired Saleh or do you think Rodgers fired Saleh?
Robert Saleh, you were fired by your quarterback.
I'm completely agree.
But you were, I think, and it's not the first time it's happened in history.
Nope,
I'm sure.
It is not. I can't remember who I saw talking. I think it was someone on one of the Fox, and they were saying that Rodgers is a head coach killer.
I saw that too. Yeah.
So I don't know. That's what I think, and I heard, like you said, where he demoted Hackett from the play calling, and then all of a sudden I don't know, it just seems like Aaron Rodgers kind of put his foot in the door and said, nope, this is not happening. If you want this done, I'm going to get you fired. So we will see.
The Jets are in shambles. They need to start winning because you don't want an unhappy Aaron Rodgers. That's not someone you want to deal with on a daily basis.
The other big news that that you sent me was this whole Jayden Daniels VR training thing that he uses.
This is some of the coolest news I've seen in a while.
It started at LSU, and because the soccer team at LSU was doing it, so the football team got in on it. You can literally upload any type of play, any coverage, any live whatever, and turn it into VR. And you put on the glasses and you live through that play.
Yep. You plug it into a VR headset and you are on the field. What LSU would do is they would plug in their plays with the play call, so he hears it in his earpiece while he has the headset on, and you're seeing the field. And you see the play run out and be executed right before your eyes, as if you're on the field.
Yep.
And I saw it was an interview with Jayden Daniels. I think he was getting interviewed by Keyshawn Johnson, and he was talking about how there are ways to get mental reps without getting all the wear and tear on your body and that. And he was kind of explaining to Keyshawn that this has been a huge help for him. And I don't know why more teams don't do it. And I do think in the future we're going to be seeing everybody do it.
So do you think everyone ends up doing it, or do you think the NFL will step in and say, no, this is banned. We're not allowing you to do it anymore?
I don't see why they would ban it. I do think, if the NFL is really on the side of keep your players healthy for longer, this is how you do it.
Yeah.
By letting them practice without having to put their bodies on the line.
Yeah.
Without, anything being meaningful.
I agree. I think I think every team should do it.
So yeah,
but I could see the NFL coming in and being like, nope, you can't do this anymore. This technology, wherever you got it from, if we catch you using it, you're suspended, you're fined, you have to whatever the case may be.
No fun league.
Yeah.
No fun league.
Yeah.
But the Commanders found out this and they invested in it, and now Daniels does it here, and you're seeing it pay off.
Well, we saw it pay off at LSU, won the Heisman, did all the amazing things, and now we're seeing him do it in the NFL. So I think you can't overlook little things like this because this is the stuff that...
Anything to give you an edge. I'm sure if this was happening when... if all of this was a thing when Brady was
it would have been
coming
banned.
up... Well, banned, he probably would have been the first one to do it,
Roger Goodell would have got rid of it as fast as the story came out on ESPN.
That's funny.
In my opinion. Next, to finish up with the Patriots, like we
said...
Sorry
that you have
Drake
to
May is starting
attend a funeral 6 weeks into the season.
Texans D-line. I think it's going to be... Either it's going to go really, really good, and it's going to be awesome, and it's going to be we're freaking back, we got our quarterback, or we're going to get sacked 6 times, and he's going to pass for less than 100 yards.
Take a screenshot of that face right there. That is exactly what I was saying when Fields made his first debut against the Browns defense.
That's what I'm expecting.
He got sacked 9 times and had like 20 passing yards.
That is what I'm expecting. And if anything else happens that's not that, I'll be happy. So we will see.
I don't know.
We will see.
We'll see. I expect him to show some promise, but the O-line is not going to be doing him any favors.
Nope.
His welcome to the NFL moment is coming maybe the first drive, first couple snaps.
Yeah.
Danielle Hunter is... we'll see. Good luck, Drake.
Let's get straight into to wrap it up for this week. Week 6. We'll run through these pretty quick. 49ers, Seahawks. We're picking this one.
Really good game.
Really good game for two teams who have lost a couple games in a row. Their defenses have been a little shaky. I think I'm going to pick the 49ers, though.
Yeah,
I think the 49ers, on paper, I think they're going to be able to run the ball. Like you said, the Seahawks D-line. There are a lot of injuries.
With injuries.
So I think the 49ers will come in. They'll go back to their roots a little bit.
Yeah.
And they'll just pound the ball, run the ball, and pass and play action with Kittle and with some of these other receivers.
This Jordan Mason should have a really, really big game, just because all the Seahawks injuries. And the Seahawks secondary they have a good secondary. Yeah. So I think you see a big game out of Kittle. You see a big game out of Jordan Mason.
Maybe Debo, too, because I know they use him in the rushing game.
Just about to say that, yeah. Debo probably has a fairly decent amount of rushing yards, maybe even a rushing touchdown.
Yeah.
But I don't think the Seahawks win this game.
Yeah.
I really don't.
Now, I know they are at home, and notorious Thursday Night Football has been the home team always wins.
49ers are healthy on defense, and Seahawks are dealing with way too many injuries.
Yeah.
Next
one, though, London game, part 2, Jaguars-Bears.
Picking this one as well. Technically a prime time. I know it's weird to think of 9:30 a.m. as prime time.
Hey, I love it. We get to start football at 9:30, and we don't end till...
I wanted to go golfing this weekend, and I can't because my Bears play at 9:30 now.
I know. But no, I'm going to pick the Bears. I think the Jaguars...
So nice of you to say.
The Jaguars played good last week. Their defense is still riddled with injuries.
I'm telling you,
the Bears' defense is very good. I think they're going to give Trevor a ton of fits.
I don't think the Jaguars score more than 10 points, just like the Panthers. These are games that you should win as a top unit. These are games that you need to take advantage of. And the Bears are already in London as we speak. They left for London on Monday.
Yeah.
And so I love the decision by our head coach. Still not a complete fan of everything, but I do think getting your team out there on Monday to get your clocks right, great decision. Great decision, especially because it was either the last time we played in London or the last time we played in London under a different head coach. It was Matt Nagy, and we flew there on Friday.
Yeah.
And lost to the Raiders.
Yeah.
Bad Raiders team. So, I don't know. Like I said, just need to keep stacking up wins, build up your young quarterback's confidence, and this is a perfect game to do it again, right before a bye week.
Yep.
And a big matchup against the Commanders.
Yep. No, next one, Buccaneers Saints.
Another great game, really.
What's his name is starting for the Saints? I can't remember his name right now.
Oh, is it what's it? Rattler?
Rattler's starting for the Saints.
Why didn't he come into the game last week?
I don't know. I was wondering the same thing, but they did come out and say that Rattler's going to start, so that's another rookie quarterback.
I was sitting there wondering, like, who the hell is this?
Yeah.
Why isn't number 18 on the field?
I thought the same thing. But I think we're not picking it, but I think the Bucks win this game.
I hope Marshawn Lattimore plays. I love watching Mike Evans and Marshawn Lattimore.
Yeah.
It's so much fun for other people that have no dog in the fight. I'm sure you hate it because every game it seems like Mike Evans or Lattimore or both get ejected every time they're on the field together.
Yeah.
But watching it as an NFL fan is so much fun.
Yeah, no,
I love it.
I think the Buccaneires take this game, though, against the Saints team that has looked very bad. And now they have a rookie quarterback.
This next one right here, our i75Live game of the week.
Commanders-Ravens. Going to be a great game.
I think this is a 1 o'clock game. The Bears play at 9:30. I might just have this game on instead of Red Zone.
I agree.
This game's going to be so great.
If this game is anything like, I think it will be a lot like the Bengals versus the Ravens.
Did you see the point total that Vegas has out? It's 52.5.
Yeah.
There's a couple games. The one we talk about later, Lions and Cowboys, is over 52.
Yeah.
So we got a good week of games.
Oh, there's some good, and really even Cardinals-Packers, I think, could be a very good game.
Cardinals and Packers, going to be really good. What is it, Texans-Patriots?
Texans probably going to smack us, play very good defense. I have a feeling that game will probably be like 28-3, 28-6 or something like that.
I don't know. I hope that Drake May gets to see himself throw for a touchdown at least against a really good defense because that could do wonders for his confidence.
Yeah.
Because the Texans have great players all around.
And it's not like you don't have any type of talent either. I mean, you have Polk, you have Douglas.
Ramondre looked really good. A week after losing his starting job, supposedly, Stevenson looked awesome.
Yeah.
What do you have, like 120 yards, something like that?
I think he had a touchdown. He plays very well in the passing game as well. We really do.
Yeah.
When you really look at it, we really do. We are
running back tandem and offense. You've got players. The offensive line may not fully be there, but you've got is David Andrews still y'all's starting center? Is he hurt?
He actually hurt. He's on injured reserve right now.
Well, that doesn't help. Yeah. Having your arguably one of your best offensive linemen hurt is horrible.
Yep.
So just show promise. But this next one, Chargers at Broncos. I don't know.
Herbert's dealing with injuries. They can run the ball very good. The Broncos are fun to watch. I think, what's funny is Sean Payton with Bo Nix for Sean Payton with Russell Wilson last year. Sean Payton wanted nothing to do with Russell Wilson. Mm-hmm. And you can see that with just the conversations that happen. Now, maybe it was because Sean Payton was like, dude, you've won 2 Super Bowls. Why am I telling you?
Yeah, I shouldn't need to.
I shouldn't need to do some of these things for you. So maybe that's what it is a little bit.
That's
but
fair.
You can definitely tell that Sean Payton wanted nothing to do with Wilson, and he is loving having Bo Nix. So this game could go, I think, either way. Chargers could run the ball really well, and all of a sudden they have 150 rushing yards.
Broncos have a really good defense, though.
Their secondary is very good.
I probably will side with Vegas on this, that it's probably going to be like a 20-17 kind of game, maybe even lower scoring, but the line for this is like 34 points, something like that. It may be even lower. But it's still a divisional matchup, so I put it on here because it could be competitive. We're not picking it. I think the Chargers probably win.
Yeah.
Just because, Herbert, the Chargers have a good defense. I think Bosa's hurt right now, but Khalil Mack is still there. Secondary's been playing very well. But this next one, Falcons and Panthers, another divisional matchup. I think the Panthers could be doing a little bit on offense because the Buccaneers were able to move the ball.
Oh, yeah.
It's not like the Falcons were stifling them, but the Falcons are going to win this game.
Yeah,
and they're going to put up like 30 or 40 points.
I think the Falcons win this game.
I think the Panthers put up like 20.
I think the Panthers will put up some points, but I think the Falcons, they're playing very good right now. Kirk Cousins came out after the game and said he's finally feeling like he's starting to throw the ball with anticipation.
There you go.
Rather than guessing and
This
rather
is a game
than
you
waiting.
need to win. This is a divisional matchup against a team you should beat. This is how you stack up wins and build confidence, especially after the week you just had. You do not want to go backwards and lose this game.
You've had a 3-game stretch of division games. You beat the Saints, you beat the Buccaneers. This is huge.
Beat the Panthers.
To go 3-0 for the first 3 division games.
It means the world for your end of the year rankings in your division.
Yes.
So
this is a big one. If they want to win their division, if they want to make the playoffs, I know it's the Panthers. They've got to win this game.
Yep.
Next one, though.
This is our other game of the week. I could have put this one as
Lions,
game of the week
Cowboys. At the Cowboys.
No defense is being played this game at all. CeeDee Lamb will have like 150 yards. Dak is going to pass. See this later for my bet of the week. Dak is going to have a huge passing game. Goff will too. The Lions are going to run the ball. They're going to have like 150, 200 yards rushing.
With no Micah Parsons and no Lawrence still. And I think they lost another one. Maybe it was off. I can't exactly remember.
Deron Bland is still not playing.
Yeah.
Their other cornerback. So you can just avoid Diggs the whole game. And Jordan Lewis, sorry. You had a good game against the Steelers, but it's...
No, it's going to be a great game. Very high scoring, like you said. I think the total's up in the 50s. So
start your Lions and Cowboys players this week is what I'm saying. That's
next one, Sunday Night Football, Bengals, Giants.
This one is going to be a good game. I think
this
one's hard to pick
because the Bengals can't seem to play defense. The Giants,
and they just lost another cornerback for the rest of the year. Dax Hill.
Yep. So I think the Giants, Malik Neighbors, even Wan'Dale Robinson. I know he's the highest. I think he's top 5 and highest targets out of wide receivers out of the whole NFL right now.
I have him on one of my fantasy leagues.
So this could be a high scoring. Bengals can't play defense, so like we saw against the Ravens at the end of the game.
It's going to be a really big shootout. I didn't see the point total for this one. I glanced at it,
I'm
but
sure
I
it's up there in the high 40s, low 50s.
It's going to be a really good game. This is our hardest game to pick of the week, in my opinion.
Yeah.
This one right here, because the Giants are way better than I expected, and the Bengals are way worse than I expected. So I don't know. I think it levels out. But who's your pick?
I'm going Bengals.
I think I'm going Giants.
I don't blame you. They're home. I think it could really go either way, and it can come down. I like the Bengals offense a little bit more though. I know Daniel Jones is playing good. I know we're giving him his credit.
Yeah, I would agree. I like the Giants defense better.
That's fair.
I think not their secondary, but I do think their pass rush is going to make things difficult for Burrow because their offensive line is banged up too.
That's fair.
So I think you got Lawrence, you got Brian Burns, you got Thibodeau rushing, and then their Giants linebackers are really good too. And so it's really going to be a really competitive game.
I'm looking forward to that one. Like I said, I'm compared to what last Sunday Night Football was, where I was about to go to sleep.
We've got four really good
primetime games. The last one though, Bills Jets. This is going to be very interesting. Josh Allen coming off of...
Both teams need to win this game.
Yeah.
Badly need to win this game.
Yeah.
And it's a divisional matchup. I don't know. I don't know who I'm picking this one either. I think the Jets.
I'm going the Bills just because Saleh's out, all this crap in the media. They haven't played very good. They're coming back, from London, which I thought every team, do they get to pick if they get a bye after the London game? I thought it automatically they give you a bye week after an international game or something like that. Or am I wrong?
Let's think about it. The Vikings do have a bye week this week. I don't think it happens every time, but I do think that plays a part because the Jets obviously don't have a bye this week, but they do play on Monday night.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like a day off, and the Vikings are on their bye currently.
Yeah.
And the Bears have their bye after this week. Yeah. I don't know if the Jaguars do too, but that's
I
never thought about
say
that.
that they leave it up to the team to where you can either pick if you want it or you can just have them assign it whenever. But no, I'm picking the Bills. I think Josh Allen will have a bounce back game. Bills, there's too much crap going on in the building and the locker room with them right now.
The Jets, I think I'm going the Jets.
You got to make up somehow, seeing that
I need to start picking some. Yeah, I think like every week I got to have at least two that's different from you. But these ones I really think they're up in the air because if the Bills play like they did last week, I think the Jets mess around and beat them because the Bills don't have an insane rushing defense. So I think this is where I think the Jets really need to start. It pains me to say it as a Breece Hall fantasy owner. You got to start working both of your running backs in and finding what each one does.
Or have them both on the field.
Yes. I don't know why we're not running two-back formations and just running options and just everything. You can run the ball. You can have one flood out to the flats and throw a screen to him. I don't know. Because when we see the Falcons and the Lions are doing it to perfection.
Yeah.
It may suck unless, Lions find a way to get their running backs both touchdowns every single week. So it does, it's hit or miss for fantasy, but in terms of being a successful offense, I think the Jets, Braylon Allen has shown you a lot.
Oh, yeah.
And I think Mike Evans needs to get more involved. Garrett Wilson needs to keep, feeding,
Mike Williams,
being fed the ball. Oh, who did I say?
You said Mike Evans.
Oh, yeah, Mike Williams, who really hasn't done much. I know he tore his ACL last year, but another good game. I think the Jets pull it off. They need to pull it off.
Yeah. Well, like you said, both these teams got to win.
It would be a huge statement for the Jets after all the stuff that's happened in their organization and in their building this week specifically, but really all offseason.
Yeah.
If you can beat your divisional opponent, one who's contending for the division with you, probably the only one who's contending for the division with you now that the Dolphins are hurt and the Patriots are rebuilding. So good games. Good games all around.
To finish off this week, we always do, our bet of the week. My bet of the week this week is Terry McLaurin over 57.5.
He had over 100 last
yards.
week. So
he had almost 13 targets last week, and now they're playing.
I think he's gone over this line I think each of the last 2 or 3 weeks. So that's a good bet.
They're playing a Ravens defense who let up 2 touchdowns to Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. Oh. So I think Jayden Daniels, he's proven to be his number one guy that he looks for. I think McLaurin goes for a big game in what could be a lot of points like we saw against the Bengals.
Absolutely.
That's what I'm expecting. So Terry McLaurin over 57.5 receiving yards.
Yep. Well, I followed your pattern for the game's highest scoring of the week. Dak Prescott, 260.5 passing yards. I think he may go over this in the first half. It's going to be a really high-scoring game, and the Cowboys cannot run the ball. The Lions have a good run defense anyways, so Cowboys are going to be passing. It's fireworks, and free money. That's what I like to see out of the NFL.
Well, that will wrap up this episode. I know it was a little bit longer. There was a lot of games to cover, a lot of great games. Follow us on social media, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, all of it. Give us a follow, and if
subscribe to the YouTube channel.
And
we're grinding out here. We're starting from scratch. A lot of the times people with a YouTube channel will have like a foundation. No, we're building this from the ground up. We're putting each wooden plank down ourselves and nailing it in. So, hey, we're almost at 100 subscribers.
We are.
100 subscribers in 2 months. That's pretty damn good, I'll say. It's good growth.
Good. So, but yes, no, other than that, follow us on all that so you can get all of our clips. If we missed any games that you are looking forward to or storylines, or if you have some comments on the Jets stuff of what's going on, what do you think? Let us know. But other than that, we will see you guys next week. Thank you guys for watching.
Sir, it's been real, guys.